Hello and welcome to episode 43 of Comics with Stevey D. Dollar bin grins. That's when you go through the box and you find things that look neat or appeal to your eye or might be worth a penny or two. Alright, this first book reminds me of the comic creator Brandon from Mon Comics. He's a big Swamp Thing. And this is a beautiful painted cover right here. Swamp Thing 91 from 1990. Cover art by John Totleben. And paid $1 for it, and I looked it up, and it might be worth $8, but it's such a peaceful thing because the Swamp Thing just blends in with everything around him. And there's his wife, his woman, and his baby, and little creatures. Good looking book. The next one is another person that inspires me to do this. Is Mike from Lunch Money Comics. He's the big X-Men fan. And this is a foil cover. Or as they call fancy, a chromium cover. Generation X, #1 from 1994. Cover art by Chris Bacalo, limited to 5,000 copies. Well, that sounds like a lot, but if you go worldwide, 5,000 spreads out pretty thin. And it'll go in my Shiny Covers 3. I'm getting a stack. Got a stack about that big now. So that's a good one. Our next book is one from the past, which I always like getting older books because I'm old. This is Star Brand #1 from 1986. I paid $1 for it. I looked it up. In this condition, it's probably worth $3 or $4. So there's a win there. I normally don't save money, but I thought I'd experiment and do a little looking up to see what the value of some of these books are. So Star Brand. This is a John Romita Jr. cover, and it's a great space scene. I like space scenes, planets, moons, asteroids, space stations, spacecraft. I like all that stuff in comic books. I like the atmosphere right here. He did a really good job creating the illusion of the atmosphere. Alright, moving on. Huntress, #1. Another oldie but goodie. Alright, all these came out of the dollar bin. I thought this would be worth a lot of money, but it's only worth $3 or $4. But I still only paid $1 for it, and it's in great condition. #1 from 1994, cover art by Michael Netzler. And I like the eye right down there at the bottom. And it's one of my DCs. I'm adding my DC collection. Alright. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is #1 from 2022. It looks like an older book, but it's not. The first half of the book is a yearbook going through the storylines a little bit and characters. And the second part of the book is a short story. So I couldn't find out the value of this, but I paid $1, and it's in really good shape, so it's probably worth $1, maybe $2. But 50 years from now, it might be worth a little more. Alright, here's another one. I'm getting a lot of glare today. Scream #1, cover by Geraldo Sandoval. Return of the Symbiote. Okay. This lady was possessed by this guy at one point, got rid of him, now he's back. So, it's a very busy cover. And from a distance, you barely see the face. All right. Here's another one. Flashback Thunderbolts #1 from 1997. A Keith Aiken cover and a Kurt Busiek story. Now, this book's in really good shape, and I was happy to say I looked this one up, and it's probably worth $10 to $15. So, I'm happy about that. A $1 purchase turns in a $14 profit. And it's square, no spine. Well, it has a few spine ticks, but no color breaks. But it's a nice book. Here's one I'm going to read this evening. Sometimes I read comic books and they help me fall asleep at night. I don't know if anybody else does that. Iron Cat has my favorite hero on the cover. Iron Man, there's Iron Cat, and there's Black Cat. There's a controversy inside the story, let me tell you. #1 from 2022, a Pierre Perez cover, 5-issue miniseries. So I'll see if I can find the other 4. I like doing that, completing little storylines. This next book is Jessica Jones, The Variants. And I really like the Jessica Jones series. On Netflix, there was a couple of them. And her and her sister and superpowers and TV stars, all that. And she's a detective and has a millionaire friend that hires her. I'm not quite sure if she's good or bad yet. So The Variants. A Phil Notto cover. And what's cool about the artwork in this, Jessica Jones is front and center. She's in the clear. And as you go further and further back, the characters get more blurry. The foreground, the background, it's an artistic illusion. It's kind of cool. A lot of times I just buy the comic books because I like the cover art. I'm sure there's a lot of collectors that do the same. Now this one's a little strange. It's got like an action figure cover. And this is Thor's #1 from 2015. Cover art by John Tyler Christopher. The Thors are cosmic cops. It kind of reminds me of Green Lantern premise, you know. But if you go in, it's like a collectible toy. So that's an interesting book, interesting cover. And here's Hawkeye, but it's not a Hawkeye book. I couldn't find out a whole lot about it, but I bought it because I liked the cover, like I was just talking about. And it's got this cartoony kind of art in it. Not quite cartoony. The cover is different than the interiors. It's one of those visual comic books. Not a lot of dialogue boxes and there's a big electric scene. I like it when they superimpose an image over several panels. And Earth's Mightiest Marksman, he's hitting the mark and then splitting an arrow. Typical Hawkeye hero. It's so new. I couldn't really find a lot of information on it. He's been an Avenger and a West Coast Avenger, and he first appeared in Tales of Suspense #57 in 1964. And my last book right here. Battle World Marvel Zombies #1 from 2015. A Ken Lashley and Paul Mounts cover. Well, this is a book I looked up. It could be worth $10 to $15, and you find it in a dollar bin. Now, $10 to $15 at today's prices. 50 years from now, like if I give all these books to my kids and grandkids, their value will go up. Not that I'm doing this comic collecting for speculation like the stock market. I'm not playing the stock market with comic books. I'm enjoying the covers and the hunt. The hunt is the most fun. When you're digging through and you pull out one, hey, there's a Marvel zombie. And it makes you feel happy for, and you toss it to the side, and then you go back into the hunt, and you keep finding books. You can find books all day long. It's just, you got to be sensible. I try to keep my hunts under $25 when I go out. That way, I know I'm not being too extravagant, and I can find some nice things. Mostly I've been spending a lot of money on my bags and boards lately. These things are getting really expensive. I spent more money buying the bags and boards than I did all those comic books. So, but what I'm trying to do is modernize my conservation of my books. Because, you know, when you go through your boxes and they all stick together, and they're kind of like the rubberized bags, and they wrinkle, so when you present them, it doesn't show a nice like photo album cover. It's like wrinkly and not very aesthetically pleasing to look at. So I'm starting with my Iron Man and Captain America. I'm about a third of the way through of modernizing their preservation. So we're getting closer to my birthday, which is on November 24th. And I'll be 64, and I'm happy to be alive and grateful for my life and everything that's happened in my family and interest in life. I was a music teacher, a musician, a father, a grandfather, a babysitter, chief cook and bottle washer, you name it. So, but my hobby is comic books, and I like to refinish furniture too that I find in thrift stores and stuff. One day I'll go around the house with my camera and show you the pieces that I've worked on. So that's another hobby, but comics is my main hobby. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment about any of these books, about my presentation, anything you want to say. I'll be happy to hear from you. All right, take care.